Come on, where's everybody going? Thought we're gonna hang out.
The story opens in Miami, 2005. David Packouz lives in Miami, working as a massage therapist for wealthy, mostly older men. Though the work pays the bills, it leaves him feeling unfulfilled and underappreciated. He narrates his discontent with his career and the realization that he's not living the life he envisioned. He tries to improve his financial situation by investing his savings into high-end Egyptian cotton bed sheets, which he plans to sell to retirement homes. However, his pitch falls flat. Administrators reject the product. David's girlfriend, supports him emotionally, but their financial instability begins to strain their relationship. When tells David that she's pregnant, he reacts with muted enthusiasm, clearly overwhelmed by the responsibilities piling up. David is at a crossroads, without a stable career or income, and unsure how to support a family. David attends the funeral of a mutual acquaintance and runs into Efraim Diveroli, a brash, fast-talking friend from junior high who has just returned to Miami. Efraim now runs AEY Incorporated, a small arms dealing company that exploits a government website to bid on U.S. military contracts. He's already made a fortune by targeting crumbs, or small contracts ignored by larger defense companies. Efraim invites David to lunch and explains how the arms business works, including how accessible these contracts are. David quickly adapts to AEY's operation. He and Efraim identify a contract to supply Beretta pistols to U.S. troops in Iraq. They find a supplier in Italy and win the bid. However, they soon discover that the Italian government has placed an arms embargo on Iraq, blocking the shipment. Efraim insists they can still fulfill the order by smuggling the guns through Jordan and into Iraq. Efraim convinces David to accompany him on the trip, offering danger pay and emphasizing the importance of the deal.
Was already about to make more money than a lifetime of massages.
They fly into Amman, Jordan, and meet with a local driver and armed escort. They load the Beretta pistols into a truck and begin the long drive to Baghdad, crossing a volatile region known as the Triangle of Death. Along the way, they're stopped at a checkpoint by suspicious guards. Efraim manages to bluff their way through by claiming they're delivering essential supplies to American troops. The trip is harrowing, but they finally arrive at a U.S. base in Baghdad, where soldiers cheer their arrival.
Holy shit.
Back in Miami, David and Efraim celebrate their success. Their reputation grows within the arms dealing community. AEY begins to win more contracts and expands its operations. They hire a small team, including David's stoner friend Ralph, to help with warehouse logistics and paperwork. They upgrade to a larger office and start living more lavishly. Efraim becomes increasingly erratic and aggressive in business. He pushes suppliers harder, demands steeper discounts, and burns bridges with former partner. One day, Ralph stumbles upon a massive U.S. Army solicitation on website. The Department of Defense is looking for a supplier to provide 100 million rounds of AK-47 ammunition for the Afghan National Army. The contract is worth approximately $300 million. Efraim and David immediately recognize the life-changing potential of this deal, which they nickname the Afghan deal. They prepare their bid carefully, offering a price far lower than most competitors would consider. AEY wins the Afghan deal, an unexpected victory that thrusts them into a new league of defense contracting. But now they face an enormous logistical challenge: fulfilling the order. The U.S. military requires non-Chinese ammunition, and most of the Soviet-era AK-47 rounds are located in Eastern European stockpiles.
David and Efraim start contacting international suppliers.
They are introduced to a man named Henry Gerard, a mysterious arms dealer living in Albania. He is on U.S. watch list of criminals.
Henry Gerard is down at the bar waiting for us.
Get the fuck out of here.
David and Efraim travel to Albania to meet with Henry Gerard in person. He takes them to a massive government-owned warehouse in the Albanian countryside. Inside are huge amounts of AK-47 ammunition in sealed crates. The warehouse manager, an unassuming civil servant, gives them a brief tour and explains that the ammunition is surplus from the Cold War. David quickly notices a serious problem. The ammunition is Chinese-made, which violates the U.S. embargo against using Chinese arms in government. David is hesitant about proceeding, but Efraim insists they move forward with Gerard's plan to repackage the Chinese ammo in new crates without markings. They hire a local workforce to rebox the rounds. Efraim stays behind to supervise the operation, while David returns to Miami to coordinate logistics and handle paperwork. Over the following weeks, Efraim delays paying Gerard the agreed $100,000 commission.
Tensions rise.
Gerard demands payment multiple times, but Efraim claims AY is facing cash flow issues. David starts to feel increasingly uneasy. He discovers that Efraim is also shortchanging him, reducing his share of the profits from 25% to 70/30 without discussion. David confronts him, but Efraim plays it down with vague promises to sort it out after the deal closes. At home, Is finds a gun hidden in their apartment along with a stash of undeclared cash. She confronts David, who breaks down and tells her the full truth about his job, the Iraq smuggling run, and the Albanian deal. Horrified and betrayal.
You know everything now.
As the repackaged ammunition shipments arrive in Afghanistan, U.S. military inspectors begin noticing inconsistencies. One inspector opens a crate and finds remnants of Chinese labeling that hadn't been fully removed. This raises a red flag, and the Department of Defense launches an internal investigation into AY Inc. Military auditors begin investigating. They trace the source of the ammunition and discover the original Chinese origin. Since the U.S. has a David is contacted by a U.S. government official posing as a contracting officer. The meeting is friendly but probing. The officer asks detailed questions about the Afghan contract and sourcing. David becomes suspicious that the government is building a case against AY. Shortly afterward, AY's office in Miami is raided by federal agents. Computers, records, and emails are seized. Efraim tries to downplay the situation, insisting they'll be fine if they stay silent. But David knows better. Facing David agrees to cooperate with the FBI. He pleads guilty to 1 count of conspiracy and is sentenced to 7 months of house arrest. Efraim refuses to cooperate, believing he can beat the charges or at least negotiate a better deal. Instead, he is convicted and sentenced to 4 years in federal prison. AY becomes a public example of how lax oversight and greed infected the government contracting system. David and Ephraim's rise and fall are chronicled widely in the final scene, David is approached by Henry Gerard for one last meeting. They sit across from each other in a quiet hotel room. Gerard, calm and enigmatic, acknowledges that Efraim betrayed them both. He then slides a briefcase toward David, cash as a form of payoff or gratitude, in exchange for David's continued silence about Henry's deeper involvement. He stares at the briefcase, weighing his decision. David now lives a quieter life and has distanced himself from the arms industry.